So in this video, I'm going to go through how a B2B client got 180 sales appointments from just $2,000 in ad spend in less than 10 days. So I'm going to show you the results that he got, the strategy that he used step by step so that you can do the same thing in your business. And I'm also going to give you a few key takeaways, things that you can implement in your own business to get great results from your lead generation campaign. Now, I will put the client's name and business private. And of course, as a disclaimer, results may vary just depending on the variables involved in your business. Now, just a quick intro into who I am and what I do. So I help businesses get anywhere from 10 to 30 or more qualified sales appointments every single month without cold calling, referrals, networking, going to seminars, or anything else like that. I've worked with hundreds of different clients across both B2B and B2C industries, including financial services, which includes financial advisors or accounting firms. I've worked with a lot of people in insurance who sell things like annuities or life insurance. And I also work with clients in business funding and other consulting services. This particular client that I'm going to be going through today is a B2B client in business funding. We provide both done for you and consulting options for our clients. So this client case study is a client that was on our done for you plan where we basically do most of the work for them. And I also prefer quality over quantity. So I would rather have a few really good appointments with people that are likely to sign up as a client instead of having lots of appointments with people that are not a good fit and they're just never going to sign up as a client. So for me and my clients, it's all about quality over quantity. And when it comes to marketing and lead generation, I love automation. So I love not having to chase leads in order to get an appointment. And I also love predictability. So I love being able to put work into a marketing system and then just get consistent, predictable results every single month after that. So you'll see everything that I show you in this video is based on automating as much as you can and also helping you get predictable sales appointments with your ideal clients every single month. So the goal or goals of this video are pretty straightforward. The first goal is to hopefully teach you something new that can help you with lead generation or digital marketing in your business. And also to be completely upfront with you to get you to consider working with us if you like what you hear in this video and you want us to either do it all for you or to consult you and help you do it yourself. So if at any point in this video you are interested in working with us, just click on the link in the description of this video and you can either watch my free masterclass training that goes through how our strategy works in more detail and what it's like when you actually work with us. So we go through how our process works for clients, or you can also just schedule a call if you just like to chat to us and find out a bit more over the phone or something like that. Either way, if you're interested in working with us, you can just click on the link in the description of this video. So like I said, in this video, I'm going to go through the client results. I'm going to go through the strategy that we used, and then I'm also going to give you some key takeaways. So let's get started with the results. So before I start talking about the results, it's important that you understand the problem that the client had in the first place so that you can understand the solution that we implemented and why it got the results that it got. So the problem that this client had, so he came to us because he in the past was doing things like cold calling and manual outreach and things like that. And he didn't want to keep doing that in order to get leads and appointments. So in other words, he was looking for more of an automated way to get qualified appointments booked onto his calendar. He also didn't want to have to chase leads to get an appointment. So he actually said on the sales call that we had with him that he was tired of chasing leads and finally getting an appointment with someone, but then finding out that that appointment was with someone that wasn't a good fit anyway. So he wanted to avoid basically just wasting time. And he wanted to have control over his lead flow. So he wanted to be able to scale up or down as needed, and he wanted to be able to do this automatically. So the solution was to attract leads and clients automatically by using paid ads, so no manual outreach or anything like that. It was to convince leads to schedule a call by using a video sales letter. So that way he can get booked appointments straight in his calendar without having to chase them. And also, all throughout the sales process, we are going to be pre-qualifying leads to make sure that the lead quality is as high as possible, and also to make sure he speaks to people that are going to be a good fit for him and his business. So these are the solutions that we planned on implementing for him and his business. So what were the results? So after just 1 week of launching the campaign, I sent him an email with an update on how many leads and appointments he's got so far. So here's the email. I said, I just wanted to send you a quick update on the first week of running ads. Here are your stats so far. So for Facebook ads, he spent only $714 and he's got 69 leads with a cost per lead of $10.35. And he has 28 appointments with a cost per appointment of $25. So that on its own is really good, right? So imagine being in the B2B space and getting appointments for just $25. I mean, it's insane. It's almost unheard of. So already he's off to a good start. But here's where things start getting even more interesting. So have a look at the next part of the email when we talk about his TikTok ad stats. So for TikTok ads, he spent $858. He had 227 leads with a cost per lead of only $3.78. And he had 95 appointments from TikTok ads with a cost per appointment of just over $9, which is absolutely insane. So a lot of people tell me that, oh, TikTok ads, it doesn't work for B2B or you can't target business owners on TikTok. But that's not true at all. There are business owners on TikTok. I use TikTok ads for my own business and I know you can target business owners. And again, you can see here, he was targeting business owners and he was able to get a cost per appointment for less than $10. So one of the reasons why TikTok ads works so well, at least right now, is because there's less advertisers on TikTok, but there's a lot of users on TikTok. So people are joining TikTok every single day. And because most people are not yet advertising on TikTok, in many cases, not all, but many cases, you can get a lower cost per lead and a lower cost per appointment simply because there's less advertisers. So it kind of reminds me like the olden days of running Facebook ads when the costs were really low. And now Facebook ads does cost a bit more because there's just so many more advertisers advertising on that platform. However, like I said earlier, results do vary from client to client. So that's why I recommend testing both if you can to just see which one works better for you and your business. So in this case, TikTok ads was the clear winner. And for most of our clients, TikTok ads does perform better, but we still get some clients that actually get better results with Facebook ads. So that's why it's good to test both just to see which one will work better for you and your business. Now, my worry with this was that because his cost per lead and cost per appointment was so low, I was a bit worried that he might have a low show up rate or maybe the quality won't be as good. Even though we did add some filters to try to increase the quality as much as possible, and we added some additional things in the sales funnel to increase the show up rate as well, I was still a little bit concerned just because of how low the cost per lead and cost per appointment was coming out. And the average cost per appointment for other clients is about $200 to $300. So we do have clients that get better results and worse results. Again, it does depend, but that's the average. So this client was getting well above average in terms of the results. So what I said in the rest of the email was, as you can see, your cost per lead and cost per appointment are both very good, but TikTok ads appears to be performing much better for you. And then I said, do you have any data on your show up rate and call quality to see if we need to make any tweaks on the funnel to potentially improve it further? And just so you can see the client's Calendly account, so you can see these appointments booked in, if we look at a date range of February, which was before he started working with us, you'll see he only has 3 appointments. But if we change the date range to March, and we'll just do the whole month of March, even though we stopped about halfway through March because he was booked up for pretty much the whole month. But if we just select March, just so you can see, he had 195 appointments, which is fantastic. And I will be blurring these people, obviously, for privacy reasons. But if you scroll down, you can just see it just goes on and on and on with appointments every single day. And I'll just do one more page just to show you again. There's just appointments pretty much booked every day. So here's what the client said in response to that. He said, Ash, first, I am so surprised by how fast my schedule filled up. I am nearly booked solid into April. And he said, I am realistically scheduled for around 12 hours a day with appointments. Then he said, my show rate as of now is about 49%. However, he's getting several people going to his website and filling out the application without scheduling an appointment or calling him. So he said he's also getting people calling him without scheduling an appointment because he has his phone number on the website. So he said he's also getting emails from people asking questions. And he said if you count into effect the additional application submissions and phone calls, he is well over 55% in terms of the show up rate. So let's just say his show up rate is just 50%, right? So we'll kind of meet in the middle. If we go back, even if you're paying $25 or $10 per appointment and your show up rate is 50%, that means your cost per showed up appointment is going to be $50 or $20 or just under $20. So that on its own, if you just include the people that actually show up, that is still really, really good. Then in terms of the lead quality, he said on a scale of 1 to 10 and 10 being the best, the lead quality is about a 7, which I would say is really good considering we just launched in 1 week. So what we normally do with clients in the beginning of the campaign is we don't add too many lead filters. We add some lead filters to increase the quality, but we don't want to add too many to the point where we add too much friction and then people don't schedule a call. The first thing we want to do is get lead flow, and we just want to make sure that everything is converting well. And then if everything is converting well, then we can add additional filters after that to increase the call quality even more. So considering we just started, this is a very good lead quality score. And then he went on to explain a problem that he now has, which is he said he has received several emails, texts, and phone calls expressing their frustration. So these are leads expressing their frustration because he is booked out for 2 months. So they are not willing to schedule an appointment with me that far out in advance, right? So as you can see, the challenge he said I'm having is that I am on the phone for 12 hours. This does not allow me to work the loans I have in the system. He said, I did not expect that I was going to fill up, so I left my schedule wide open from morning into late night, and now almost every slot is filled for the next 6 weeks to 2 months. So what's funny is the client went from a not having any appointments problem to now having I have too many appointments problem. But as I said to the client, this is a good problem to have. If you're in business, you probably rather have a problem where you have too many appointments than not enough appointments, right? So that was the next challenge for the client. And I'll show you how you can fix this problem later on in this video in the key takeaway section. So now that you've seen the client results, let's talk about the strategy that we used in order to get these results. And I'm going to break down the strategy in 3 simple steps that you can implement also in your own business. So the first step of the strategy is to create a video sales letter. So if you don't yet have a video sales letter or a VSL in your business and you want to get more leads, appointments, and clients, then I would highly recommend that you create one, because out of all the different ways that you can generate clients and out of all the different lead magnets that are available, I strongly believe that the video sales letter is the best one that you can create. So that was the first thing that we did for this client. We created his video sales letter. So here are some key points with what we did with the client's VSL. So first of all, the VSL length was 4 minutes and 10 seconds long. So it wasn't a very long VSL. It was quite short. And this is because we know from experience that videos in this client's industry, they would perform best when they were around 5 minutes or sometimes less than that. So we found if you start creating VSLs that are maybe 9-10 minutes or more for this particular client's industry, it would likely not convert as well as a shorter VSL. Also, the client's problem and solution that they solve is very straightforward and it's easy to explain. We don't need to add fluff into the VSL in order to make it longer for the sake of making it longer. We can pretty much get everything covered in just a 4-minute video. So that's what we did. We don't want to make the video longer if it doesn't need to be longer. Now, in terms of the video structure, the first 10 seconds of the video was the video hook. So this is basically going through what they will learn in this video by watching the video. Then the next 10 to 60 seconds of the VSL talks about the problem that people have. And then the next 1 to 2 minutes talks about alternative solutions to this problem. So what else? So what other options are there out there if the person watching this video doesn't use the client? And we also explain what are the problems with these alternative solutions, because the reality is they're going to be thinking or potentially even looking into these alternative solutions. So it's a good idea to actually address what are the problems with this alternative solution. And by doing this, you can very smoothly transition into the next part of the VSL, which is the next 2 to 3 minutes, which is the client's solution and why this solution is better than those alternative solutions and who this is a good fit for. And then finally, in the last part of the VSL, the last 3 to 4 minutes, we have a call to action, which is to schedule a call if they want to learn more about the client solution. And then we also explain to them what happens on the call. And in terms of the VSL format for this VSL, for this client, they used a combination of both slides and being on camera. So sort of similar to the video that you're watching now where there's slides. So the client had something similar. Here's actually a screenshot of what their VSL looked like. Obviously, I've blocked out the client's face for privacy, but he basically had some slides and then he had himself speaking on camera in the bottom right corner. And then in terms of the VSL engagement stats, these were the stats that he had. And I'm sharing this with you because if you have your own VSL, it is important that you track your VSL engagement stats to see how well it's performing and where you can potentially improve it. So if you're not sure what to look at, just to give you a quick overview, for the first minute of the VSL, you want to have over 80% of people actually watch the VSL. So you can see in this case, he was getting over 80%, which is good. So 80% or more would also be a good number for you to aim for within the first minute. And then towards the end of the VSL, when you get to your call to action, you want to aim for at least 25% of people watching the end of the VSL, where you tell them to actually schedule a call. And you can see in this case, he was getting about 40 to 50% of people watch the end of the VSL where he had the call to action. And in terms of people actually going to the VSL page and then clicking play, a good number to aim for would be 50%. So it's not always possible, but if you can get 50% of people who go to your video page actually play the VSL, that can definitely help you. So you can see out of 475 visitors who saw this video, 254 clicked on play to play the video, which is over 50%. So again, that's a good sign that people were very interested in the VSL. And a lot of this is to do with the messaging that we used in the ad before they saw the VSL and in the VSL title or the VSL thumbnail that we use. So if you have a VSL that maybe not a lot of people are actually clicking on, have a look at the VSL thumbnail and just see what title are you using on the VSL thumbnail, because we found adding a good title on the VSL thumbnail can encourage more people to actually click on it and then watch the VSL when they go to that page. So as you can see, the VSL engagement stats were very good for this particular client. So there was nothing here that I thought that we could improve. For some clients, sometimes we see maybe a red line, maybe in the, I don't know, the 2-minute mark or something like that. And that indicates that people are dropping off. And then if that's the case, that tells us, hey, there's actually something that we could do or change in at this part of the VSL to improve the results. So even if everything's converting well, if the data says that there's room for improvement, a lot of the time we'll go ahead and just improve that or make that improvement for the client. But in this case, you can see there's just a gradual decline in the people watching the video, which is completely normal. That happens with every video. So there was nothing here that I would recommend changing. Now, if you want to see a real life example of a VSL, you can also check out my VSL. Just click the link in the description of this video to watch my free masterclass training, because that is my VSL. And that goes through not just a real life example of a VSL, so you can see what one looks like, but it also goes through how to create a VSL, how to structure it, what to say. And I also go through how we can do all of this for you if you don't want to do everything yourself. So again, click the link in the description of this video if you want to learn more about how that all works. So now that we've got the VSL up and running, the next step of the strategy was to create an automated appointment funnel. So an automated appointment funnel looks basically like this. It's a funnel where you get people who are strangers or people from cold traffic to become a lead. And then from a lead, they convert into an appointment, and they do all this automatically without you having to speak to them or, chase them or anything like that. So just to show you how it works in this diagram, you have your traffic. So in this case, the client was using Facebook ads and TikTok ads. You send your traffic to the opt-in page. So no matter what channel you're using to generate traffic, they all go to the same page. So we send people to the opt-in page, and then from the opt-in page, they can enter the name and email to watch the video, which is your video sales letter. And then on the video sales letter, if they like what they hear on the video, they can then either fill out an application form to work with you or schedule a call in your calendar. Some people like to do the calendar first and then the application form. Some people like to do the application form first, then the calendar, and some like to combine it. It doesn't really matter too much which one you do. But what I will say is if you want to increase the quality as much as possible, then having the application page first and then the schedule call page can usually work well. And then after that, we redirect them to a call confirmation page after they've scheduled a call in the calendar. And every page of this funnel has a purpose. For example, the call confirmation page, you might think maybe that's pointless, but actually the call confirmation page, when done correctly, that is designed to increase the chances that the appointment actually shows up for the call. So again, every part of the funnel has a purpose. So just to give you a few screenshots and examples of what this actually looked like for the client. So this is an example of the opt-in page. Obviously, I've had to remove some of the text for privacy reasons, but I can basically tell you what was in the text more or less, so you have an idea. So the first part was the logo. So we have the logo at the top for branding purposes. We don't want this to look like it's a business that was just put together overnight. We want it to look like a real legitimate business. So just having your logo at the top there can do that. Next, we have who this is for. So we put for business owners with. So in your case, you can specifically call out who this is for on the landing page so you don't attract the wrong kind of people. So let's say you want to target businesses with over $1 million in annual revenue. You would say for businesses with $1 million or more in annual revenue. So whoever you want to target, you want to actually call them out so that those who are not a good fit, they don't actually fill in the information. And only those that are a good fit go ahead and go to the next step. Then for the title, this is the VSL title or the title of the opt-in page. This is basically the big painful problem that you solve for your clients. So this is usually how to do XYZ, and then without some of the problems that clients face. So for example, with my opt-in page, it's how to get 10, 15, 30 or more predictable sales appointments with your ideal clients without relying on networking events, cold calling seminars, or things like that. So you can follow that same principle in your business and just say how to get whatever the specific result is that you get for your clients, and then say how you can do this without what are some of the problems that people want to avoid when they're getting this result. And then we say, where should we send the video? And they can enter the name and email in order to get access to that video. And the reason we say, where should we send the video, is to increase the chances that people enter a real name and email. We found that in the past, when we used to say, enter your name and email or enter your info below, sometimes people would enter a fake email or fake name. But we found when we actually say, where should we send the video, it sort of implies that we are going to be sending them a copy of the video via email, which is true. We are sending them a copy of the video through email, but it increases the chances that people actually enter their real name and email. And then finally, we just have a picture on the side here, and then we have a few more bullet points about what they will learn in the video. Now, this bottom half isn't really that important. It can help a little bit, but the most important thing that actually gets results, the 80-20, so using the Pareto principle, this top half is what gets results. And it's also important that when people go to this landing page, they can see everything at the top without having to scroll down. So especially the form, you want them to be able to see that without having to scroll down, because again, that can improve the conversion rate. And then when they enter their name and email to watch the video, they then go to the video page. And this is where, again, we have the client's logo at the top. We have the video sales letter here. And then if they like what they hear on the video, they can then fill out a short application form and then schedule a call. So what we've done is we've actually combined the application form with the video page, because we've found in many cases, not all, but many cases, this can help you get a better conversion rate rather than having a button that says, schedule a call or apply to work with us. And then they go to another page and then they fill in the application form. We've found in most cases, again, not all, there's always exceptions. My business is one of those exceptions. But in most cases, if you have it like this on one page, you can get better conversions. And then after they click submit, they then go to the client's schedule page or Calendly page, and they can schedule a call in the calendar, and then they go to the call confirmation page. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on those pages, since these two pages are the main ones that you need to know about in order to get the conversions. And then the third step of the strategy was to create the ads. So when it comes to creating ads, what we did is we created two campaigns. We created a campaign on Facebook and on TikTok, and they were each spending $100 a day or $200 a day in total. The goal of the campaigns on both Facebook and TikTok was to generate leads. So when you're setting up a Facebook ads or a TikTok ads campaign, you can select the conversion goal. I always recommend just select the goal of generating leads or the lead generation goal, because if you do traffic or something else like that, you're just going to get low quality leads or low quality people seeing your ad. By low quality, I just mean people that are not likely to convert. And you want to avoid that. You just want to get people that are likely to convert. So if you select lead generation as your campaign goal, you're going to do that. And then based on your daily budget, that will determine how many ad sets you have. So for this particular client, since they had $100 a day for each channel, we created two ad sets. Here's a screenshot of the ad sets. You can see what they look like. This one is inside of TikTok Ads Manager. So you can see we had one ad set targeting one specific interest, and another ad set which was just very broad and just letting the algorithm do most of the hard work. In most cases, for most clients, we found the algorithm usually gets better results, but we still like to include, some sort of interest or something like that to point people in the right direction. So in this case, we said to TikTok, we want to target business services. So businesses in the business services category in order to point them in the right direction. But we also had the algorithm one so that TikTok could just use the algorithm to find the right people In most cases, like I said, we find the algorithm ad set does a better job in terms of getting a lower cost per lead. But in this case, we found that there wasn't really too much of a difference between both options since they both had a very similar cost per lead. And then inside of each ad set, we created 5 different ads. So they had 10 ads in total because they had 2 ad sets. And then inside of these 5 ads, we basically talked about the problem in different ways. And the reason we have 5 ads, we usually do 3 to 5 ads for clients, is because sometimes some of the ads don't always get approved. So at least you have some ads that are approved if you do multiple ads. And also because some ads convert better than others. So you can see these first 3 ads, they generated leads at about, $6 to $7. And then the last 2 ads, they generated leads for $2 to $3, more or less. And if we just tested one ad, let's just say this ad, and it generated leads for about $6.46, it still would have been converting well, but it wouldn't have been as good as this one and this one here. So the one that TikTok thought was converting best was this one here. So TikTok and Facebook will automatically send traffic to whatever ad they think is going to convert best. And in this case, it was this ad here, which was generating leads for $3.28. And this is the ad that generated the majority of the leads inside of this ad set or ad group, as you can see here. And then all the ads that we run were video ads where the client was speaking to the camera. And we did some light video editing as well, where we added some subtitles and B-roll as well, just to help make it a little bit more engaging. But the reason I add this in here is because, especially on Facebook ads, you can test image ads and video ads. But what's working best as of right now in terms of getting the most appointments is actually video ads, not image ads. So if you can, I would recommend using video ads instead of image ads if you want to increase the chances that you get good results from your lead generation campaign. And then just to clarify, all the ads that we run was sending people to the opt-in page where people could enter their name and email to watch the video. And then if they like what they hear in the video, they can then schedule a call, or actually they can fill out an application form first and then schedule a call in the calendar. And then in terms of the ads, what was very important was that we called out their ideal client in the first 10 seconds or first few seconds of the ad, because what we want to happen is those that are a good fit, they keep watching the ad and then they click and convert. But those who are not a good fit, we want them to continue scrolling. We don't want them watching the ad if they're not a good fit. So that's why it's really important in your video ads, you call out exactly who this is for in the beginning of the ad. And then by doing this, that will increase the chances that your ad is shown to your ideal clients. And then inside the ads, we also used a lot of curiosity. So we talked about the problem. We talked about, what are the alternative solutions to this problem. And then we say, if you want to learn a better solution than these alternative solutions that haven't been able to solve the problem, then just tap the Learn More button to watch a video that explains how it all works in more detail. And that is the VSL. So that was the structure that we used for all the ads. And we just modified it slightly, how we said that for each ad, because as you saw, if we go back, some ads did convert better than others. But even though the ads each said something slightly different, the language or the main problem that we solved in the ads was still the same. And then in terms of the ad length, all the ads were about 30 to 60 seconds long. And then as a bonus step, what we also did for this client is we also created their automated follow-up sequence so that any leads that didn't convert straight away, they would be followed up with, and then that can help them convert later on in the future. Now, I put this as a bonus step because the reality is it wasn't really needed. They already got more than enough appointments just, within the first few days of launching the campaign. But this is something that can definitely help all clients, and this can help you and your business as well. Because the reality is, in most cases, not all leads will convert straight away. And actually, even for this client, most leads didn't convert. Even though they got a lot of appointments, there were still lots of leads that didn't convert. And that's why we have those follow-up emails. But in this case, I put it as a bonus step because it wasn't really 100% needed. But I still recommend that you have this in your business as well, because you will get more conversions if you do have this. So this is what we did in terms of the strategies. So the next logical question is, why did it actually work so well? What can be done to potentially improve the results moving forward? And what lessons or key takeaways can you learn for you and your business if you're interested in doing something similar? So here are the key takeaways. So these are all based on my opinion, but the factors that I believe contributed most to the success of this campaign was twofold. First of all, I believe it was the messaging. So the messaging is super, super important. a lot of the time the messaging can make or break your campaign. So one of the big reasons clients work with us is because we help them with the messaging. So we help them communicate what it is that they do and how they help their clients in a way that gets people actually motivated and excited, and get them to actually want to learn more and want to schedule a call with you to learn more. So all of that is to do with the messaging, or in other words, it's copywriting, it's writing good copy, or writing good ads that actually convert, that actually get people to be interested in learning more. So this is, I think, one of the biggest factors to the success of the campaign. And for all clients, we do follow the same formula where, we talk about the problem, we talk about the alternative solutions to this problem and why it doesn't work so well. And then we explain what is a better solution and why this solution is better. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of like an overview of how it works and how we structure it. And then what's also important is that the ads, the landing pages, and the VSL all followed the same messaging. So we didn't want someone to click on an ad and then go to the landing page of the opt-in page and then see something completely different, because that's going to just kill your conversion. So we wanted to make sure everything was congruent the whole way through, and that everything just continued to follow the same messaging that we had in the ad. So the same thing we said in the ad would appear on the landing pages, and then it would appear on the VSL. And then when they have the appointment, again, it's all talking about the same problem that the leads have. And throughout the campaign in the messaging, we also used a lot of curiosity. So if you've seen any of my other YouTube videos, you'll probably remember that I talk a lot about creating curiosity in order to get people interested in learning more, because the second you tell people what the solution is, they're not going to be interested anymore. So you need to create curiosity as much as possible, and also create something which is called open loops, where you say that they're going to learn something, but you don't tell them what that thing is straight away. And then you wait a little bit until you do tell them the solution. And then when you do tell them the solution, again, you create another open loop in order to get them to continue watching all the way to the end. So this is something we do all the time. We do it in our YouTube videos to try and get people watching the videos for longer. So as a matter of fact, I've actually been using this in this video. So if you're still watching this video now, it's probably a good sign that it's working. But we want to try and create as much curiosity as possible, because curiosity is one of the most powerful things that you can do to get people to take action. So that's why all throughout the funnel, we are using curiosity to get people to take action. So for example, in the client's VSL, we never actually told people what the solution was until 2 to 3 minutes into the video. If we would have just said, hey, this is the solution, in the first 30 seconds, most people would have just dropped out, right? So there's a process you have to follow in order to get the best results from this. And again, it's all to do with the messaging. And also what really helped is that the client genuinely had a very useful solution to the problem that people had. So in this B2B space, they genuinely could help people in a way that was, I wouldn't say 100% different, because there are people that do something similar, but we were able to position it in a way that stands out and makes it unique and different compared to what other people are doing. And a lot of that is done by talking about alternative solutions and why your solution is better than those alternative solutions. So if you can do that in your business, that goes a really long way in making your solution stand out as unique and different. The second factor that I believe contributed to the success was the strategy. So the strategy in this case, we really wanted to try and get the call quality to be as high as possible. So considering the client said that the call quality was a 7 out of 10 in just the beginning phase of the campaign, I'd say that is a success in terms of making sure you have good call quality. Now, there's still definitely some things I think we can improve on that moving forward, which I'll explain in just a second. But in order to improve the call quality and to get a 7 out of 10 call quality in the first place, one of the ways that we did that was with the strategy. So we called out the ideal client everywhere. We called out the ideal client on the ads, the landing page, and also inside of the video sales letter, just to attract those kinds of people and repel the people that don't fit into that criteria. Now, you can still get people that bypass it and they might lie and, say they are this when they're not. But just by including those extra filters, that does increase the chances that you do get better quality leads and better quality sales appointments with your ideal clients. We also send people to the VSL first before scheduling a call. So if you've run ads in the past and you've noticed that the lead quality is very low or the appointment quality is very low, um, then a lot of the time, but not always, but a lot of the time, it's because leads are not watching a video sales letter first before they speak with you. So they don't really know who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. So just adding that video sales letter into your sales process before someone schedules a call can dramatically increase the call quality if you're not already doing that. So that's why we use the VSL strategy for all of our clients, because it just increases not just the leads, the amount of leads that they get, but it also increases the call quality as well. And then moving forward, in terms of what we could do to improve this, so I think, as I mentioned, I think we could increase the call quality even more. And the reason I think we can do this is because of the low cost per appointment that they are getting. So because they have a low cost per appointment, there is definitely room to filter more people out and increase the cost per appointment, but filter people that are not the best fit. So having a more expensive cost per appointment isn't necessarily always a bad thing if the quality is better. So I've done this a lot in my business. Every time I start getting too busy, I start adding more filters to filter people out. And then eventually you do reach the point where you can't really add any more filters, and then you just need to hire a salesperson to help you. But I do think in this case with this client, there is room to add more filters. So for example, in the application form, we could add one or two more questions to filter people out so that they don't schedule a call if they don't meet the criteria in the application form. So I still think having a 7 out of 10 call quality is good, but I do think with these changes, we could get it to a 9 out of 10 or potentially even a 10 out of 10 as well. The second thing that I would recommend is to increase appointment capacity. So if you reach the point where you just don't have time to have any more sales calls or any more sales appointments, you're going to either have to pause your ads, which is what this client did because he was getting too many appointments, he had to pause them. And then you have the option to either wait for your availability to free up again and then turn your ads back on, or you can just hire and train a salesperson to take some of the sales calls for you. So if you want to scale up, then hiring a salesperson is definitely something that can help you do that. So this is what this client is doing right now as of recording this video. And then the other thing that I would also suggest is to increase the lead conversion rate. So you can do this by adding additional follow-up emails with client results, testimonials, and even YouTube videos. And by doing this, you can convert more of your leads in the long term, not just the short term. So this client, because he was on our Done For You package, we did create 3 months worth of emails, but I recommend that you continue to follow up with your leads forever. And the more that you follow up with your leads, or the longer that you follow up with your leads for, the more conversions you will get over time. And I know this because I've seen it not just for clients that we've been working with for years, but I've also seen it with my own business because I continue to follow up for years and years down the line. I always get clients every month that convert. And then when I go back into their lead profile inside of my CRM, and then I click on the email tab, and then I start scrolling down, I start to see that they've been opening emails for months and sometimes even years before they finally converted into an appointment or into a client. So having those follow-up emails can be very, very powerful. So I would recommend doing that as well for getting long-term results, not just short-term results. So if you're watching this video thinking this sounds great, but it also sounds like a lot of work, and you want someone to just basically do all of this for you, then this is a service that we do for clients. So if you need help with doing this, then just click the link in the description of this video to watch my masterclass training, which goes through how the process all works in more detail. And then at the end of that video, if you like what you hear, you can also schedule a call, and then we can go through how it all works in more detail and answer any other questions you might have. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.